start our special meeting, our budget meeting tonight. So I'll call us to order. And Summer, if you'll call roll.
Commissioner Patterson.
Here.
Commissioner Norwood.
Here.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Commissioner Stallings.
Here.
Commissioner Dennis.
Here.
And Mayor Mason.
Here.
All present.
Tonight, our invocation will be by Commissioner Norwood, and our flag salute will be by Commissioner Baker. So if you'll stand and remain standing, please.
Please bow your heads in a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for blessing us to see this day. Lord, we thank you for everything. We thank you for keeping us and watching over us and protecting us and our families and our community. Lord, we thank you for the weather and to do great things in this city. And Lord, especially we thank you for those that put this budget together, the team of expertise that has taken place in bringing all this together so that we can look at it and be able to make the right decisions. And we're just asking that you would lead us, and guide us, and bless us. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Got our junior commissioner here tonight, don't we?
We do.
All right. Item 3.1, conduct a public hearing on the, let me back up, I didn't skip anything, no. 3.1, conduct a public hearing on the proposed 2005-2026 City of Enid budget and related authorities financial plan. Aaron?
Yes, as part of the budget process, a budget hearing is one of the requirements for state statute, and so we've published that notice in the paper that ran on May the 3rd in the Enid News and Eagle, and so this is the chance for the public to come and give their input on the budget process. So if anyone signed up to speak, now's the time.
I do not have anyone, nor do I have anyone in the audience. I mean, obviously I have Mary, but no. Okay. I think we're good.
Okay, then we're ready to move on.
Okay. Item 4.1, discuss and take necessary action on the fiscal year 2025-2026 City of Enid budget.
Wonderful. So now we have been through 2 meetings to discuss the budget. This is the 3rd. And tonight, all of those funds that are in green are the ones we haven't talked about yet. So they're on slate for tonight, which is the capital improvement fund, street and alley, capital improvement, street improvement, sanitary sewer, stormwater, water capital, and capital project escrow. Right here is the breakdown of what the total of that capital program looks like that we're proposing for next year. It's 10.459 million, and those are the pages of the budget that you can find the detail on. This next one breaks down that proposed budget and shows you how much of that is coming from a transfer from EMA versus non-EMA revenues. 8.8 of that is coming from EMA to fund those programs, and then we have the remaining 1.6 is coming from other areas. Street and alley, we have gasoline tax that we collect, which is $360,000 of that, and vehicle license tax, which is another 92, and then we have interest. And then capital improvement is all interest on funds sitting there that haven't been expended yet as projects are in construction. Street improvement, there's a $250,000 both revenue and expenditure in that fund for the capital recovery pass-through if that happens during the year. So we're going to have to come back and ask you. We can just execute that if it happens. Same thing that is in Fund 41, the street improvement fund and sanitary sewer fund, there's capital recovery pass-through there. Stormwater also has capital recovery pass-through and some interest that's coming in. Stormwater, you'll see that we're actually having a surplus. We're transferring more in revenue than the projects that we're expending. So that's why that one shows up as a negative of $130,000 for this next year. And water capital also has that capital recovery pass-through. And then the 64.5 for the escrow fund, that's related to the stormwater basins, and that's developer fees that we're anticipating that we may collect that will be deposited into those basins over the next year. So it's kind of how these projects get funded, high-level overview. Is there any questions I can answer before I turn it over to engineering, and they can walk you through all the projects and what makes up all those dollars for this year? All right, well, I'm going to turn over to Jason then.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I hope everybody had a little bit of coffee to get started, but got a lot of slides to get through, and so I'm going to go through them kind of quickly. At any point in time, any kind of questions pop up or anything, just give me a little shout or wave, and I'll stop and either back up or move forward. Just a kind of a quick introduction to, since we got a handful of new commissioners. The engineering department consists of about 15 people, including plus Morale and myself. We got four engineers. We got kind of a diverse background. We got a couple of mechanical engineers. We got a structural engineer. We have a hydraulics engineer. Myself, I'm a civil engineer through school. Morale is a civil engineer as well, with a little bit of more emphasis in the environmental side. We also have a project manager, and then we have a handful of project assistants, surveyor, and then we have our inspection group. And all of us kind of put together, we kind of create this diverse group of people that can handle multiple different kinds of projects through multiple stages of projects. And so that allows us to do a lot of in-house work, basically, you know, from the birth of a project and through design, through bidding, through construction, and then also through our GIS side, which allows us to document that kind of information. So that's kind of that's what we consist of. And so we handle a lot of projects. Typically we handle like 100 to 125 to 130 projects that are active, various stages of the project. And the projects that I'm going to talk through this evening are the projects that are the new projects, the ones that we haven't really started yet for the upcoming fiscal year. So, thank you. Capital Improvement Program, the CIP program, basically it's used for improvements to real property and major maintenance projects. This year we're presenting 9 design-only projects, 29 budgeted projects for a total of about 10.562. I included the airport projects on my slides as well. They've been discussed before, so I won't really talk about those since Keston covered those previous meeting. There's a breakdown by funds. Aaron just showed you those two as well. Again, 38 new projects this year that we'll be looking at. For the airport fund, those 2 projects that Keston spoke about, Hangar 17 and Hangar 38. Hangar 17 is $135,000, which is going to do a roof overlay to that large hangar. And then Hangar 38 is going to have some insulation, door repairs, as such. In the street and alley fund, we have a budgeted $1.95 million. This includes 3 projects. $900,000 budgeted for, basically that's the annual maintenance that the Public Works does. It includes rock, asphalt, and crack sealing, a portion of the crack sealing. That's citywide, and it's kind of Public Works funds. We help them any way that we can. Second project is a street point repair. This is a citywide maintenance program. I think we started about 3 years ago, and it's kind of evolved and grown into a pretty robust program that allows us to complete a lot of work throughout town. The pictures I have there are North Central and East Pine. It's just kind of an example of the type of work we do. Usually it's not large-scale projects, usually 50 to 100 feet, maybe even smaller than that. It allows us to be kind of quick on our feet and making those repairs through a contract that we have.
Is that what you're doing out on Roop? West Roop?
That 900, well, actually, that's a separate project,
That's a
right?
separate project, yes.
But you don't call that, whatever you just said?
There's
As
three
point
legs.
repair?
Three legs to the street repair replacement stool. These are two of them. The 900,000 is for local streets, primarily redoing asphalt. It does not include root because that was a separate budgeted project
Okay.
that we believe we can do to save money. This project fixes concrete streets all over town, just like Jason said, where the street overall is still good, but it's got a lot of bad spots in it. Anywhere you drive, very proud of this program. As you may tell, or can tell, I talk about it every year. It's one of the best programs along with asphalt. Everywhere you go in Enid, you will see new asphalt and new concrete, and it's these two programs. Now, the other thing that we do is brand-new reconstruction rebuilds. Those are wonderful, but those cost millions of dollars and take a long, long time. Good example is what's going on Cleveland. From the railroad tracks, I'm sure that's going to be done any day, right, Jason? And, but when it is done, it's going to be wonderful. Those are complete rebuilds, and that one's actually a little different because we worked with ODOT on that and gave them the money. But so I just had to jump in there, Jason, because those two programs. So ROOP is similar. It will be us doing it, but it's a different pot of money because it was originally going to be contracted. But I think, what did we put in there, 200,000 or something for that? Whatever that amount was, nowhere close to what we would have to pay a contractor.
Yeah.
So very proud of those programs and our in-house teams. This one's outsourced. You could speak J&B and others, Jackson Civil,
had it last.
Luck and Bill, over the years have had, we bid that out now, I think, right, on an annual
Correct.
basis.
Yep.
And asphalt we do in-house. So I think I hope if you, I'd love to stay afterwards and talk or during the meeting because I love talking streets. I'm an armchair engineer, so we can only do addition, subtraction, division, and multiplications.
I have a question about 54th Street.
Yes, yes.
What's going to happen there? It's gotten
Which side? The south
the
side?
north of,
North side's got what I'm considering bad spots in it, and engineering has gone out and taken core samples, and I believe they've determined from the core samples that the street is generally good, but some of the places are bad. And so I think we're going to do, Jason, why don't you tell what we're going to do?
Yeah, currently, right now, the project's out to bid, and it's kind of similar to this kind of project in the sense of but we're sticking to just 54, so it's out to bid. I think there's 30-ish spots, somewhere in there, that we're going to take out the panel sections and replace them
looked like you did some temporary repair the other day. There's some asphalt's been stuck in
Yeah.
some of that worst hole when you turn off a Garrett.
Yes, that's that's one big bad spot there, yeah. And so it's very similar to this kind of project where it's not going to be a whole road, it's just
Okay,
we're going to fix
that's good.
spots.
As long
But
as you're focusing on it,
yeah,
that's,
it is out to bid now. I think bids are due, I can't remember if they're due the 15th or the 16th or something like that, so. Yep. The other part of street and alley funds is the sidewalk repair partnership program, and this is both for residential and commercial properties. If you're unfamiliar with this project, basically this is a partnership between the city and the owner of the property. They come to us and say, hey, I'd like to partake in your partnership program. We evaluate the sidewalks and then kind of come to an agreement. The homeowner pays about half of what the sidewalk costs to repair. The city covers the other half, and then any upgrades to the sidewalk to make it ADA compliant. This is one that we did over last year. It's along Broadway there around the 200 block. This is Cafe Limon. This is a project I'm really proud because it's got some really good pictures, really good clean pictures. We got some really rough looking sidewalk that turned into a beautiful section of the sidewalk there. We typically handle about 3 to 4 of those projects a year. I always love to encourage the public. We don't get enough of these projects, and I end up having to kind of hurry and get more projects to do by the end of the year. So I always encourage people to reach out to me if they want to partake in this. It's a good program.
And just to follow up, this program is for existing sidewalks,
Yes,
right? Existing sidewalks that are bad, that businesses or residents can help control. I mean, and we're asking them to pay for about half of it. It determines, depending on where it is, they'll really end up probably not paying half of it, but they'll pay something. and then we fix the sidewalk. So it's a great tool for me when people get on See Click Fix, and hopefully it'll be a great tool for those of you that respond on Chit Chat, because we're happy to help anybody, particularly if they want to help themselves. We've got a great program. So.
The next fund I'd like to talk about is capital improvements. They're listed there. We got $700,000 for projects out at the landfill. The first project is a continuation of a project that's going to be basically permitting us a new landfill that's south of the existing. It's usually a 7 to 10 year process that takes to open up a landfill of this sort, and we are in year 4 of the project. It's mostly been consulting fees and geotech investigations of that type sort so far. Merle, you got anything to add to that?
I think the 3 phases are like we did the geotech, we did the hydraulic study. Now they are doing the calculations of the hydrology. So the next step is going to be the survey and topo survey and preliminary design for the project. So once we are done those portions, then we will submit the project to the state, and we'll go through the permitting process. I think it has several steps, public hearings and stuff like that. So pretty soon we'll see that process.
Second project is a landfill scale replacement. The existing land scale is kind of coming of age. It's taken longer and longer to recalculate it, according to Tim Stevens out at the landfill. And so this project will basically just to replace the existing scale that's there. Got $150,000 for that. The last project for out the landfill would be $300,000 for a new cell. The current cell that we opened up 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, sorry, seems like yesterday, is reaching its capacity, and so it's time for us to start the design and construction of a new cell. This cell will be 5 acres in total, and it's, as you can tell there, it's kind of located along the north side of the existing mountain, kind of the northeast side there.
Do we install that ourselves, or is that contracted to have someone come in and set it all up?
Typically, that's contracted. It's a lot of leachate line and things of that nature that we don't have the staff to do that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
The other part of the capital improvement fund, property repairs and maintenance, include the transition plan compliance, and then the convention hall west parking lot reconstruction. We have $800,000 for those two. The transition plan compliance is a $300,000 project that we do yearly. It's been court ordered for us to follow the ADA transition plan, which is put together a handful of years ago by the ADA Access Board. The Access Board selects a couple of projects every single year for us to focus on. This year they chose the Champlain Pool restrooms and also the sidewalks that are located over by Taft Elementary. So we will improve the sidewalks in that area and within that neighborhood as well. The Convention Hall West parking lot reconstruction, we have $500,000 budgeted for this. This will include the design and reconstruction of the parking lot. This year we hope to focus on the design and getting it reconstructed and have the electrical conduits basically ready to go ahead of any kind of construction. The design is going to include obviously the pavement and things like that, but also lighting and other features that are needed in that area. Street improvements with the local street program. We have 4 projects that are budgeted for it at $600,000. First project is a mastic seal project. This is a little bit different than the crack seal program. This is for the mastic is basically kind of like asphalt, a little finer grained. And what it does is it goes in and repairs. This is a This is the project that's actually fixed and ready to start. That was the best pictures I could find. I apologize. But over there on North Oakwood Avenue, kind of up there by the school, there's some large cracks, and this mastic seal will actually go in and repair those cracks so that they don't continue to damage the roadway. We have $100,000 budgeted for it. We're going to kind of evaluate what this year's project gets done, and then kind of use that to dictate on where we go to this coming year. The local street, we're going to resurface Wagon Trail, roughly between Heritage Trail and Willow. You got the blocks numbers on there, 2,000 to 2,400. This project will go through and remove a couple inches of the surface of the roadway and put back new asphalt, make any improvements to any kind of drainage, curb, things of that nature along that stretch of that road. Looking into the design-only projects that we have this year, this project is 600 to 1,800 blocks of West Walnut. This is over there just south of Chestnut, kind of a little bit west of the railroad yard over there. We have some major drainage issues that occur in this area. And so this project, we're going to start with the design of it, see what improvements we can make in that area. And as you'll tell here in just a few slides, we're actually got another drainage project that's going to be those two projects are going to kind of be sisters and kind of work together to improve each other so that so we're not working against it. Get the best improvement of that area when we can. Again, this is design only this year. The other design-only project that we have is a block over on Main, 1900 block. This project include street improvements, sidewalk, and things of that nature for that section of the road. Street Improvement Fund, this is we call it inside the arterial program, but reconstruction and overlays. This year we have $400,000 budgeted for crack seal, and then also the design of the 600 to 200 blocks of South Garland Road. Here's a picture from this year's, Commissioner Patterson mentioned what's happening out on Roop. This is part of that program this year where we're crack sealing that section of Roop. So at $150,000, we should be able to get a mile and a half, 2 miles worth of roadway crack sealed. Crack sealing improves the life of the roads tremendously. It usually adds about 7 years-ish to the street's life.
I do have a question on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Right there in that same area, and that activity that's going on Roop caused an individual that lives out there to call me about cracks in the road at the end of Ritchie, but the east side of the track. So the very end. So his house is 4201. There are some big cracks there. What's the difference between the mastic seal versus the crack seal?
So the crack seal is usually, half an inch or so, kind of the maximum size of a crack. The mastic, we're looking at like 2 inches and kind of
Okay.
larger in that area. The ones that actually, when you drive over them, you hear the thunk, those kind of cracks is what the mastic will be repairing.
So the best way for him to request maintenance on that would be See-Click Fix?
Yes, absolutely.
And ask for the mastic seal? Because they're pretty big
Yep.
cracks.
Yep, send that through See-Click Fix, and
Okay.
we'll take a look at it. So, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at the design of the 600 to 200 blocks of South Garland Road. This is a section that's over there south of 412 down to Roop. Right here is the soccer complex. And so this project, we're going to be looking at 4-laning this section of the roadway, as well as any kind of drainage improvements, sidewalk improvements, and a trail extension up to and down to the soccer complex. Obviously, this improvement's needed for the development that's happening in that part of town. So.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that too because obviously we anticipate over the course of 3 years building the ball fields. The soccer fields are already there. They're wildly successful. And we get people all, from commissioners to the public saying, hey, you need to widen that. So this is the first step. It does take This is a designer, a design engineer firm. And you can just get an idea of just the design is $250,000. So you can already tell that this street's going to be a multi-million-dollar street. We do not have money for that, but we do have, we're not bashful about asking for money, are we?
We are not.
We are asking everybody who will listen from the state. I know Stephen's doing a wonderful job. We're finding grants in many, many things, but the one challenge that we do have is the government doesn't seem to give out grants just to fix plain old streets. They'll give you grants for a bike lane or a pedestrian or an alternative. We're still waiting for what about just plain old driving on kind of streets? But, so just an idea. It's exciting because we'll start and it's going to be needed, but you can imagine for future years to execute, we'll have to come up with, that's a great example of complete rebuild, reconstruction, actually widening, very expensive.
Would that fall in line with like an ODOT partnership, kind of like how Cleveland?
Yes, we can certainly request ODOT funds, but I know that ODOT, there's only so much and so many times we can go to the well with them. They have other mouths to feed, Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And so we do our best to make sure that we're getting fed here in District 4. They've been pretty good with us. They came up with the extra funds to do Cleveland, so I appreciate it. Do you know when we could hit them up again for more money?
We can always ask.
We can always ask. All right, well, we'll be asking them, probably we'll get this designed first and make sure we have all the right-of-way and stuff, but.
Right, yeah.
So probably in a future year, maybe the following fiscal year, we'll have made some contact to see funding sources.
Yeah.
I've noticed also that once you have all the design work done, they seem more receptive to, because the question's always, so when would you start if
Right.
we were to fund this?
Yeah.
And that helps when we have stuff designed, ready to go. okay?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. We've had better, it felt like we've had better luck taking them a completed designed project that's ready to go. That way, hey, we're waiting on you, not the
That's
other way
right.
around. So,
That's right.
yeah. Jumping into the sanitary sewer, we got $1 million budgeted for those 3 projects there. The primary project for that group is the $750 that's allocated for the I&I point repair program. This is a project where we inspect a large amount of sewer lines every single year, and we always finding handfuls of problems and breaks and things that in the sewer line, and this is allocated. We put out a bid for that work, and we always refer to it as a point repair program. It existed before the concrete one, so we say I&I point repair, but it focuses on doing those repairs. Typically, roughly 100 or so locations, probably a year in Raleigh, and it allows us to be kind of agile with the contractor. If we have places that is an actual backup that's happening, we can pull the contractor over and get them working on it immediately. As I mentioned, also part of this is also the inspection part, where they video camera the lines and check for the bad locations. The root control program. This program is where a contractor comes through town. We give them a designated area to apply root control chemical, and what that is a chemical that they put in. They basically kind of squirt it into the sewer lines. It foams up, and it kills any kind of tree roots or roots that are penetrating into the sewer. And it kills them back 3 or 4 or 5 inches, so that they won't grow back for years to come. We do this project on a cycle. Typically, it's around a 5 to 6 year cycle where we hit the bad areas that we need to. You're just fine, Commissioner.
So in a
Roberts.
5 or 6 year window, you're able to get through all of them with that chemical?
So typically, the way we do it is no, but we know the areas that are bad. We know the areas where we have highly concentrated trees, and those are the areas that we go back to. The other areas that really aren't that big of a problem, they get hit probably 10 years probably. But they're not the general problem areas.
So do we get tree roots in the new plastic PVC type pipe?
No, these are all in the old clay line pipes.
Okay.
And
yeah.
the reason is like there, the pipe is only 3 feet length, so there are so many joints. So over the years, the joints are getting the seal on the joints are gone. So the trees gets into the good water.
Yeah.
Good water.
Okay.
Nutrient rich.
Yes.
So as part of the sewer capital improvement funds as well, we're also we worked through several of our lift station locations, adding generators, backup generators to them. We're kind of down to the last group, which is the Nielsen lift station, the Love's lift station, and the airport lift station. This project, we're basically setting up a generator out at the site so that if the power ever goes down, the lift stations won't go down. As we all know, sewer doesn't run on power, it's all gravity fed, so we got to keep those up and running. So we hope we'll get those 3 done this year. The other portion of this sanitary sewer capital improvement funds focuses at the WPC. This year we have $1.8 million budgeted for that. The first project that we're going to be working on out there is the biosolids building, which is $1.5 million. This is where we take the solids from the sewer, and they get treated and digested and turned into what's a cake, and that's actually taken out to the landfill and applied at the landfill. Marley, you have anything to add here, or is that?
No, I think currently we finished our preliminary design, so this will be for final design. Once this is design done, this is about like almost $20 million project, $25 million project, construction cost-wise. I think, yeah.
We do have a congressional ask-in for this that we refiled, and so whether or not we get it, I don't know. But that's another example of we need funds, and we're beating the bushes to try to get funding. So.
We'll be working on a WPC demo phase 2 of the old plant. This year, we're going to work at the old admin building and the tertiary clarifier, with the focus being the administrative building that's out there. This is located just north of the new WRF facility, the newish facility, that one. We have $100,000 budgeted for the pre-treatment program assistance. This is called TBLL, and what this does is technically based local limits, and so basically this puts together a study that tells us what our limits of our discharge from the plant. Is that the right word, Marley? Okay, discharge from the plant, so that we just know what we're supposed to be doing. So the plant's working to its full. Stormwater fund, flood control, we have 1.7 budgeted for it for this year. A handful of projects there, and a design-only project. The first project is $200,000 for the establishment of flow lines and proper drainage. This is a program that we started a few years ago, basically focused on going through the existing channels, cleaning the existing channels, cleaning the trees, the grass, debris out from those channels so that we know that they're all functioning properly. We do that throughout the town. We work with Public Works Department to give us kind of ideas of where we need to focus our work. We have $200,000 budgeted for the Cleveland Street and Indian drainage improvements. This is a phase 2 of that project as well, and this is where we're going to be improving the pipe located right there along there. This is the district development here. I think that's Colton's right there. And so there's a drainage pipe that's not large enough to handle the flows coming off there, so it's improvement to larger than that pipe.
Now, that drainage pipe goes beside the road or under the road?
Beside the road.
Beside the road, okay. So we won't have to tear up that road to,
I might have to take out a little bit of the road.
okay.
It's right on the edge of the road.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll probably have to have a lane closure or so during the construction, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So this Chisholm Creek drainage improvements, this is up in the Chisholm Creek addition that's on the north side of town. This project's going to be focused on the cleaning, clearing, regrading, and reshaping of that ditch that's up there in that part of town. Haven't had any real big issues up there, but it's just kind of a slow draining situation that needs to be taken care of. Constitution ditch improvements. You can see where it's located there, between Willow and Chestnut and Garland and Oakwood. Can't think of those neighborhoods, but y'all do, y'all know. And so same thing, cleaning out the ditch, regrading it back to the design grades of the channel. And then this is kind of the third one project, very similar, $350,000 for the Champlin ditch improvements. We've done a lot of work over there by the nature park and over there between Hoover and Live Oaks and kind of in that area. And so this is kind of the final phase of that project, $350,000 there for that section of the roadway between Taylor and Tyler. This is a project I mentioned earlier. It's kind of tied together with the Walnut Street Improvement Project. This is a Lincoln Drainage Phase 3. We've done Phase 1 and Phase 2, which were primarily focused up here along Chestnut to improve the drainage up here in the ditch that's along Chestnut. This actually drains back down here and then back over here to this area. And all of this kind of pinpoints down into this area where it crosses the railroad tracks. Right now, the kind of, as I mentioned earlier, I think that's Walnut there. We got some real drainage issues right there. It all kind of pools right there. And so our primary focus of both the street and of this project will be to get that improvement and all flowing in the right direction. This is a design-only project as well, until we can kind of wrap our heads around how large scale of a project that's actually going to be.
I'd like to give you guys a compliment real quick. Right along there where Pope did their add-on, that has always been a problem with runoff. And when their design and their new retention pond, that's draining off of there so well. I've driven by there several times during big rains, and used to seeing, massive build up, and it's flowing really well. So,
Oh, nice.
good job for you guys and for Pope's design.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott. So Water Capital Improvement Fund, so water maintenance, consists of 3 projects: street repairs, fire hydrants and valves, and the fire hydrant replacements project. We have $420 budgeted for this fund. So street repairs, so typically what this project consists of is whenever city crews go out, fix a break that's on a city line, they just backfill either temporarily or with asphalt. And what this money is allocated for is to go through and make the permanent repair of those locations. We have $70,000 budgeted for that's our typical amount that we budget for fire hydrants and valves. That's for our maintenance crews or maintenance team to use kind of from their day-to-day cycles. And then we've put together a program of $100,000 for fire hydrant replacements. This is a pilot project that Chief is excited about, I can tell. But so typically we have, every year the fire department goes through and does their flow tests and checks and inspects all the fire hydrants across town. We usually float around the 75, 80 mark of fire hydrants that need some kind of maintenance. Either, the valve is too hard to spin, or the hydrant isn't high enough off the ground. Some of them may just be totally gone. Some don't have no flow, things of that nature. And so what this program is targeting is to start chopping that number down on a yearly basis. We want to get that number back down to to where the $70,000 that we typically have budgeted is enough. I mentioned we had 80 to 100 or so fire hydrants around town, but put that in perspective, we have approximately 2,000 to 2,500 fire hydrants across town. So it's a low number of fire hydrants that don't work, but this is a good program to get that knocked down, because it should be 0. So.
Always look for blue and green, right, Chief?
That was the best one.
Orange, red, and black is really bad, so.
Orange is okay, red we can work with, black is bad.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what this program is focused on, is the black ones. It's the ones that just aren't working, so.
How many do we have? How many black ones?
Sorry.
How many do we have that aren't working?
On average, year to year, we run somewhere between the upper 40s to mid 50s on average. The street department does a pretty good job of trying to keep pace with that. And in the past, they've contracted some of those out to try to maintain a reasonable number. They've been really great with us as far as working out the priority. We don't want any black hydrants, a string of them in a row where we're a long distance from any building, house, business, or anything. But also make sure that hydrants near schools, churches, commercial buildings, things like that are not out of service. I think we're getting to the point now where the average age of the hydrants in town is reaching life expectancy, which is about 50 years, 50. And so optimistically, this 100,000 might help put a big dent in it this coming year, but it's probably going to take a little bit to stay up with it. I think the reason we're at this point right now is because they're only able to replace and repair them at the rate that they are starting to fail.
At the rate what?
At the rate that they're starting to fail and have to be replaced.
So the black ones, are they because the fire hydrant's bad or because there's not enough pressure behind the?
Because the hydrant itself is bad.
It's the hydrant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The valve is inoperable, broken stem, which is from the nut on the top that goes down. The valves are all below ground at the water main. When that stem breaks, they can repair it to some degree, but at a certain point it just has to be replaced. The barrel of the body of the hydrant you see will last nearly forever, but it's the inner workings and the valve and the connection at the main is what becomes the problem with age.
Okay.
And did you say this $100,000 is just a one-year attempt, or is that something we're trying to roll over?
So my thought process is I hope it's a one-year deal. I hope I can get it all knocked out in a year with that amount, but I don't foresee that as being enough. I would think this might be a 3 to 4 year program. This year will tell us a lot, whether or not it'll give us a better judgment of how many fire hydrants and what the life of this program would actually look like.
Has anybody looked at grants for, I would think there'd be grants out there to help with this. That's important stuff when your house is on fire or your business. So has anybody made an attempt to find a grant for that?
I have
Either.
I can't, I don't know if you got the answer for that? Or?
No, I don't have the answer to that.
I don't know if we have. I will tell you that grants for things we need aren't as plentiful as grants for things that somebody thinks is a good idea for us to have. So, but we could certainly look at that.
I know we keep our grant writer pretty busy.
Yes,
They do
yes.
an excellent job. We
Yes,
get a lot of free money.
He is, and so I think probably the strategy we have here is a good strategy. We're putting more money towards fixing those 40, 50, whatever they are, out-of-service hydrants. It is disconcerting, but every year we're fixing some, and unfortunately, we've got to get to the point where we fix more, then more go bad.
That's right. Yeah, that's
we may
what
have
this-
to. Yeah, we may have to apply more money in the future, however we get it. And so, as you can see, it's just a matter of priorities. We've got. Every year is the hardest year. This was no exception. It was very difficult. As always, we had many more needs that made close to the final cut, and we were still millions off. So we were fortunate to be able to look at some revenue items, particularly a one-time revenue item and some other things, to still maintain a capital improvement program, which this is part of about $10 million. Instead of, I want to say we've done maybe 15 or something in the past. We also have to keep aware that I believe we've got something like 24 million. Maybe we've already talked about debt, but we could talk about it again. Debt is simply paying for the projects that we needed, so we already got them. And so it's kind of like that credit card, except it's on a bigger scale. And the good news is they do pay off over time. Call Lake is the massive, largest part of our debt. I want to say it's around 19 million by itself. And I think, Aaron, I think you're showing something like around, is it 23 or something total million? A lot of those are other OWRB issues for sewer and other things. But we've got, I think in that, well, you can speak to it. The amortization schedule's not complete yet because we haven't finished the CAW project, but it's hitting, at least at this point, what the max payments are for the next few years for that project, right? Yeah, so having said that, yes, we will be leveraging grants. Good theme. We need to raise revenue everywhere. Certainly, commerce programs we're looking at, grants we've talked about, congressional appropriations, which we've actually been successful for on 2 projects, one of which is in this budget. Cool. The CAW one that we're still trying to crack the code, but Stephen's made significant progress. I know we'll get that $4 million, and then there's another $4 million for Ames. So those are the kind of things that are really, really important. And so at the end of the day, we make hard decisions to bring you this this budget, and then hopefully we hit at least most of the priorities. But you're absolutely right. Fire hydrants, protecting life is very important. And I don't know so much that we're compromising anything on life. I mean, we'll get into property. We've had those discussions before in study sessions. So I don't know what the exact number is. It sounds like it's 50 plus or something like that out of 2,200. Not bad, but we'd like it to be better.
Hey, Jason, just one more question on the fire hydrants. Either, Jason. And this just for my own personal use, but are there any new generation hydrants that have the stems that are carbon fiber or something that don't rust, I mean, are we still making the same mousetrap, I guess is what I'm asking.
My understanding is there are not a lot of technological advances in fire hydrants. Yeah, pretty much still the same animal. You probably answer that question in more detail than I could.
I can't actually. My fire hydrant fun fact is they don't know who invented the fire hydrant because the patent house where the record was stored burned down. So,
That's good. That's a good thing.
But I have not researched that. From my understanding is where we kind of have the second generation, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, we have the latest generation of what we could be.
Just seems like every time you bring something new to us, it's the latest and greatest,
Yeah.
and whether it's software, and I just didn't know if there was anything out there that.
Yeah, and on something like this, the latest and greatest is going to cost us twice as much, probably.
Well,
So,
good point.
I mean, so kind of sticking with the tried and true facilities that we know that work. We know they already last 50 years. So it's
That's pretty good bang for your buck.
yeah.
It is,
Yes.
it is.
Stick to the rivers and streams that you're used to, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Nice.
I think these hydrants are pretty current up to date because previous hydrants, the stem was completely to the bottom. So whenever they hit it, so it's going to break the whole thing. Now the hydrant knocks off at the ground level. So we can go back and fix that hydrant. So
okay.
the stem and everything is going to knock off at the ground level. Previously, it was not that way. So I think there is some technology there, but still, for the years that we are getting for this, like for $5,000, it's like pretty good.
Okay, all right.
And that is one other little point I'd like to throw in related to this program too is any of the fire hydrants that are of the new style or of the latest style that can be repaired, they're going to be repaired versus replaced.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
excuse me. So water upgrades and extensions, we have $380,000 budgeted for that. We got a handful of projects there. Looks like about 5. So the first project, we have $100,000 budgeted for the relocation of a small segment of water line at South Taylor and O&K Garriott. This project was brought to us by ODOT. due to a conflict with the storm drain pipe related to the work that ODOT's going to be completing along that stretch of the roadway there. We have $200,000 budgeted for the 200 to 300 block of Hoover Street. This project was brought to us by the maintenance department. There was a fairly significant break of the water line located right beneath where you see this drainage channel, and there's a box right here. The break actually happened underneath, so it's not something that they could fix. It is a 6-inch line. I'm not for sure of its age, but I'm sure it's old and needs to be replaced anyways. So that's what this project is going to do. We're going to go through and replace that line so that loop of that system in that neighborhood can be taken care of. So over at the service center, water plant 1, excuse me. There's always been bulk water station located right there, and it's been coin operated forever, or for as long as I know. And so with some of the improvements that we've done there at Water Plant 1 related to the call tie-ins and the work that's happening there, we've actually did away with the existing bulk water station, and we're going to be putting, this money is allocated to put in a new one. I think our plan is for it to be card operated and things of that, be connected to internet and all that good stuff. So it'll be able to keep track of itself. We've got a design-only project. I think the next two are design-only projects. We got the 100 to 400 blocks of East Elm Avenue. Water line relocation, which is located between 4th Street and Independence. And then the next design-only project is the 1200 to 2900 block of East Elm, so a little further out east of town, between Davis and 30th Street. These two projects are kind of tied together in the sense of this is helping us get a good connection across town for that part of the town. So that's all the projects that I've got budgeted for this year. Or I say I, we, y'all. Totaling 1.5. As I mentioned earlier, my number is a little different than Aaron's. I included the airport projects on there. Keston, I'm just on deck for him. Anytime he needs my help, he can just give me a holler, and I'd be glad to help him. Total of 38 projects added to our list of projects. Any kind of questions to talk about?
Question/comment. I've already talked to Gerald about this. A small pet project that I've been looking into was putting in speed humps in some residential areas where people are speeding. And just want to make sure that there'd be funds to start a starter program for that. Have not necessarily monetarily buy-in, but community buy-in as far as wanting and needing a speed hump. So I just want to make sure that there is funds set aside, or that there is a way I can fund that $25,000, something.
Yes, I'll jump in. I know these guys I appreciate, Commissioner, you've talked to me about that for a little bit, and we are going to bring that to study session on June the 3rd. And I know these guys may not have had a chance to look at those links that you had sent me that I forwarded, where I believe Oklahoma City has a program, and maybe Tulsa, and there's some national safety standards and stuff. To answer your question, yes, because I think in your proposal, weren't you talking about a maximum of $25,000 or something like that?
Start out to see if it's needed or wanted in.
Yes.
Obviously not in every neighborhood, just if a neighborhood request for one, make sure the street is a logical place for that speed hump. 2, that it's not going to be a nuisance, that it's something that's wanted in the area and it's going to be beneficial, especially my neighborhood, Monroe. There's tons of children, and it's a straight shot almost down, and people go 40 miles an hour down the road. I know we've tried the flashing speed limit thing. That doesn't stop anybody. An actual barrier that would make them slow down.
We just need some enforcement, Chief. That's kind of a joke. Commissioner, yes is the answer. At $25,000, I can assure you, as we move forward and figure out how this program could work for us or how it would, and then what the program is, if that's the level of funding we're talking about, I'm confident we can carve this out of something. To do the street hump the way I've looked at it, and I don't know that you guys haven't had much time to look at it yet, I believe we would have to figure out what the criteria is for those roads. I definitely want buy-in from the people that live there, because the one example, it was rumble strips that we did in North Enid. People wanted them really bad, and then they wanted them really gone. And so we need a way so that we're not just blowing around in the breeze on what people want. And then I think we would have to build it in to actually put the speed hump. I think we'd probably have to cut out part of the street and put it in. But those are my thoughts. Non-engineering armchair. The real engineers here haven't had a chance to look at it because they've been busy on the budget. But I can assure you at the $25,000 level, yes, we would have the money to implement a pilot program if that's what the council and you want to do. So.
Perfect. And then I had one more other question, comment. With Cleveland being constructed right now, I know that people aren't supposed to be going through the residential area up to Willow, but there's quite a bit, and I know that there's some road damage. Is there plans to go back through that and repave that for that neighborhood?
You want to take it, or you want me to take all the hard ones? I'm going to let you have that one. I'll chime in.
There's no immediate plans to look at fixing it. I think once that project is done, we'll evaluate the situation and see what it looks like. Yes, people should not be cutting through there. I get it on both sides. The signs are in the way. Why can't I go to my neighborhood? But then also, why are there all these people cutting through my neighborhood? So I hadn't heard any direct complaints here lately about trucks or anything going through that. So that's made me feel better. Hopefully the truck traffic that was cutting through there had figured out that they can't go that way. But we'll evaluate that. I'll have that on my checklist for whenever we finish up the Cleveland project.
I think it may be a candidate for our team internally, because
that's a good point. Yeah.
What street do you live on? Is it Quailwood? And that's the one we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I drove that the other day. I saw damage already, as you pointed out. I hope we came through and fixed some potholes. And when the project is done, to be frank, that's a substandard street anyway, but I think we can go in with our asphalt team and lay down a new layer and make it much better for a while. So yes, they will analyze it, but I'll help them out. I think I can take that one for action with Ashley, and you guys could focus on those 38 new projects. And
yeah, that would be a good experiment for the speed bump situation, because once you clean that road up, or not clean it up, but smooth it up, people will go faster on it. So
could you get buy-in from your neighborhood? Do you want speed humps, or don't want them? Okay, you will not be the one to ask.
Backtracking slightly, amazingly, I have speed bump knowledge. I had a friend in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I stayed at his house for a while, and they developed some speed bumps that it's a slight raise going up to a flat surface of a couple of feet and then back down. And he said that was a new program, and he said that worked amazingly in terms of just because it used to be like Daytona in front of his house, mm-hmm. And I don't know what that was about the engineering, but he said that was very effective. Mm-hmm. But it's a slight raise, flat briefly, and then back down. And he said it worked like a mofo.
Yeah. A lot of those. The bigger you get, the more concerns you have with drainage issues and things of that nature in those areas.
Okay.
I think the state maximum is either 4 or 5 inches. It's not very much.
Oh well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think kind of what you're describing, I think of what's on campus over at Stillwater.
I got to go back. Was that an engineering term you used, or? It sounded great.
Navy training. It was a Navy term I taught many years ago.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Jason, Morale, I'll just say, good job, you guys. I'm always amazed every time I look at this every year. I know $10 million is a lot of money, but y'all get a lot done with that. Yeah. And a lot of things that have been problematic for a long time, hopefully we're getting the fix that we don't have to come back for quite some time. So thank y'all so much. Thank you for your entire team and their expertise.
Yes.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 5, Recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. All trustees are present for the Enid Municipal Authority. Item 7.1, discuss take necessary action on fiscal year 2025-2026 Enid Municipal Authority Financial Plan.
Okay, so this section and all the rest of the sections are just if we want to go back and revisit anything that we talked about in the authorities last Thursday night, if there's been any questions that have come up or anything we need to revisit. If not, we've already covered it.
Well, I did have just a comment. Lots of comments on Facebook about the Stride Bank Center and the financial situation there. And one of the things that people always said in there was, well, I didn't know that was going on. Do they have plenty of money in the budget for marketing? That's the only thing I can think of that.
Okay, when we get back to the city section, we can talk about that, but we're under the municipal authority right now, so we
Okay, so
can't
that's different.
have a discussion
Okay.
about that, yeah.
I was just thinking we covered that Thursday.
Yes, but this is a specific item for EMA, so
Okay.
you're acting as trustees of the EMA right now.
Okay, perfect.
Any questions on that? Comments? Good. Okay, I will, Frank, did you have? No? Okay. Item number 8, adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. All trustees are present of the Enid Economic Development Authority. Item 10.1, discuss, take necessary action on fiscal year 2025-26 Enid Economic Development Authority Financial Plan.
Yeah, and this one also was gone over on Thursday, and Marcy came and talked to you from ERDA about their $800,000 budget. So if there's any questions specific to that fund, now's the time to discuss those.
Getting a lot of bang for our buck on that, too, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing.
A lot of
Very impressive.
Okay, item number 11, adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. All trustees of the Enid Public Transportation Authority are present. Item 13.1, discuss, take necessary action on the fiscal year 2025-2026 Enid Public Transportation Authority Financial Plan.
And again, this is just the transportation fund. Talked about it. We're doing that transition now. We're working through all the steps to move to FTA. So that budget's not, it's kind of fluid, but we've tried to adjust everything that we know, and that was gone over last Thursday also. So I think we're in good shape there unless there's any questions.
Nope. All right. Item 14, adjourn and reconvene as the Enid City Council. Item number 15, discuss and take necessary action on the fiscal year 2025-2026 City of Enid budget. Commissioner, it's to you now on this
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Well, do I need to restate it?
No, you're good.
Okay. And I don't think I remember seeing that it broke down their budget and where I could see how much they spend on marketing or.
Right, and so because we hire them to do the management, I mean, I rely on their expertise to come and tell us what they need. And whenever they brought forward their budget of what they needed to make that happen, to do the marketing and all the pieces, they put that together. We did not reduce anything that they requested, whereas may not be the case in some other areas. And so I trust their expertise in what they're doing, and so, I mean, I can't really weigh in on if they need more. They didn't request more.
That's just rolled into their entire budget
Yes.
that we saw.
If I remember correctly, Visit Enid did increase their advertising area because they no longer have that third employee.
That's true. I do
right. We
remember
did do
him
that.
saying that.
Yeah, but that was specifically for visiting.
Yes.
Well, and Visit Enid does have a slight, if Rob was here, he would tell you, and he might be watching, that as a destination marketing organization, their goal is to market our city to people from the outside, but also to galvanize people inside. They actually are OVG 360 employees, so they also, part of their purpose is to help support that building. There's probably some synergy that could be improved upon there. But we budget total revenues and expenses, and as you know, there is a difference that's covered with the subsidy that Jeff talked about last time. You know, I think there's some value there to really dig into, and certainly any constructive feedback you have, I think it'd be great. Jeff welcomed that. So if you do, and I know you've got specific expertise, you've got expertise, and
And
Courtney
Whitney
used to
was
work
in
there,
on
but
that. Yep.
you're brand new, but I'll give you a break. But if you have some helpful hints for him, give them to him, because he has been charged. He's been charged with hitting the subsidy. In fact, their whole, they will not get an incentive this year because it's based on hitting the incentive. If you hit the incentive, or I mean the subsidy, great, that's what you're supposed to do. If you come in below the subsidy, congratulations, we're going to pay you a tiered amount. Well, we're not going to have to worry about that, although they're doing their best, as he said. So we're going to be looking to try to help them with suggestions. My wife was telling me, because again, I don't look at it, but she may see some of the same stuff. And I appreciate that, particularly the ones that are being constructive. But the folks out there that think they know everything on that, would love for them to come down there. And I would like to ask them the question, how many tickets have you bought lately? My guess is probably nothing. And I'm going to hear that, well, we don't like the events. Well, buy them anyway, because if you want to have events you like. So I think your point is good. Jeff and his boss, Claudio, which was here, they're tasked with, they've got to figure out how to make it work and figure out how to get the subsidy, or what is the amount that we think is appropriate. And unfortunately, we've gone the wrong way since COVID, although we were going the right way then. I do think where they're going to come in this year, and I think they estimated 874 as a potential worst case, will be better. That will be better than last year, I believe, if I'm remembering the total. So although that's not what we want, it's better than what's happened. But please feel free to reach out to Jeff. I don't know if he looks at that. Again, if there's constructive stuff, I'd be looking at. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste my time, because they've got to work on coming up with a plan that works. And
He did
so-
actually chime in on the thread, so.
Okay, well, I hope it was good and positive and
Yeah,
encouraging.
I think it was.
Commissioner Patterson, I just want to let you know, I pulled up the presentation that they gave us that Visit Enid and Stride Bank Center did. The Stride Bank Centers is not broken down, but I will say the second largest budgeted expense for Visit Enid at $60,000 is print material / advertising. So that does make me feel a little bit better.
Any other comments on anything that we've talked about? No? Commissioner Roberts, I admire you for bringing Bodie up here. I tell you what, I think one of the hardest jobs in the world is being a mom.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And being a mom and a commissioner. It's got to be challenging, so
Wanna
you bring him.
Thank you all.
No. You bring him anytime you want to, and I think that's remarkable that you're still able to do your work and take care of Bodie. So
I think it's a first. I'm not aware that we've ever had a city commissioner that had a baby while they were a city commissioner.
yeah, so great.
Well done.
And when we're
Yes, very
home,
well
he's
done.
quiet, but the moment we get here, he has
It's
an
always the way it
opinion.
is. Yeah.
Maybe he's excited about engineering projects.
We have our Legos with us.
Hey, I didn't put him to sleep, so.
Well, with that being said, don't forget Tuesday night we will have our regular meeting at 5 o'clock, study session, and then we will have our regular meeting at 6:30, of which we will vote on the budget. So with that being said, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
I would like to motion to adjourn, but I would also like to remind everybody about the town hall tomorrow night.
Oh, thank you,
5:30.
thank you.
In the Stride.
That's at 5:30 for the new ballpark. We're looking for folks that'll just come up, and it's in the Stride Bank Center.
In the Benson
Ballroom, 5:30 to 7. We'll have our engineers there. They can answer any questions. We're looking for other ideas that we could add. We want to do well when we build this, and so any ideas that you have, just know that every time we add a bathroom, it costs $1 million. So anyway, yes, we hope we have a good turnout on that. So with that being said, I think I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
was pretty quick.